Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Healing Light Fellowship Church. We are a non-denominational church practicing spiritualism. I'm your speaker today. My name is George Janacek. For those of you who don't know me, you may know Reverend Lydia Janacek, so it's okay to call me Mr. Reverend Janacek. Being able to stand up here and speak is really an honor. So this morning, I'm going to talk to you about control and free will. My intent when I started my talk was to talk about control. But the harder I tried to stay on topic, the more I was being pulled towards the subject of free will. So today, I will do some of both. Double bonus day. Just as a side note for all you kind of trivia buffs, the words free will do not exist in Scripture. I will be using words today like God, the Holy Spirit, and the universe. Since we are a non-denominational church, and because it's not my intent to offend anyone, I invite you to substitute whatever word you feel appropriate. Whether it's Allah, Buddha, Christ, or something entirely different, we're all talking about the same thing. As children, we have little, if any, control over our lives. We're typically told when to go to bed, when to get up, what we can eat, when we can play, often what to wear, and we're given very few options. To my childhood was an added difficulty of a broken home. My parents divorced when I was very young. My sister, my brother, and I shared a 3-bedroom apartment in Chicago with our grandmother and 2 unmarried uncles. We also had a lot of company, to the tune of about 8 or 9 million roaches. My dad rarely contributed, and as a result, money was tight, meals were usually very small. At 16, I quit high school, got my first factory job. Shortly after my 18th birthday, I decided to take control of my destiny, and I joined the Navy. I'm off to see the world. Nothing can stop me now. Within minutes of stepping through the gate of the Naval Training Center, this short guy was screaming in my face, calling me dog meat. Okay. I don't know if we have any veterans in the room, but this is kind of typical when you go to boot camp. Okay. Within 30 minutes, my hair was shaved off. I was given a 6-digit number to replace my legal name. Okay, wait a minute, what just happened here? I thought I was in control. Once again, I'm being told when to get up, when to go to bed, when I can eat, what to wear, and of course, being a cocky 18-year-old, I resisted. As a result, I was able to accumulate quite a few extra hours of physical training. I was in pretty good shape by the time I left boot camp. But eventually, it sunk in that I couldn't control this, and I gave in. Fast forward a few years, I spent most of my adult life thinking that I would be happy and successful if I had financial security. I learned at an early age that life doesn't give us a free ride. So I would work and work and work. I would typically work 70, 80 hours a week. Some weeks exceeded 80 hours. Lydia would insist that I was a workaholic, and of course, I would insist that I wasn't. How could anybody label me a workaholic? There's 168 hours in a week. I only worked half of those. I'm sure some of you are like me, and you like things to run smoothly. You like to be in control. I like to be organized, productive, reliable, always in control. I would soon learn that sense of security I had built my life around was non-existent. It was nothing more than a mirage that I had created. It's taken most of my adult life to really understand that there are things controlled by the universe and not by me. If you're like me, maybe you have to hit a brick wall before you finally let go of that gripping hold you have on every aspect of your life. I can tell you when you loosen that grip, life gets a little easier. You ever notice that some of the biggest lessons we get come in the most painful packages? Too often, it takes a serious illness, loss of a job, broken relationship, or the death of someone we care about to make us sit up and take notice. These type of events have enough impact to get our attention and force us into change. Wouldn't it be nice to get our lessons without all the trauma to inspire our growth? Why does learning process always have to be ugly? We all get opportunities to check off our lessons. We get friendly little reminders all over the place. Sometimes they're in conversations we have or we've overheard. Could be a news article, TV or radio, or a sudden idea and creative thought. When we ignore them, life gets more forceful, and unpleasant things start to happen. You know you should put tires on the family vehicle, but life is really busy, and because you have free will, you decided to ignore it. Now you have a flat tire. If you're lucky, it happens while the car's in the garage. If the universe decides you need a good smackdown, it happens when you're doing 65 miles an hour on a dark road. Was there a lesson here? Absolutely. You ignored that tap on the shoulder. In the past, I've been one of those people that on occasion has to be hit really hard. During my working life, I had one job where I had this nagging feeling that I needed to change. Although I know I needed it, I didn't do a thing about it. I even was told during a few sessions with a medium that I was going to be leaving my job. Even had a few messages during a message service saying the same thing. Still, I did nothing. Shortly after that, I injured my back while working and spent well over a year in rehab. Even then, after that year, I still couldn't return to my job. What was my lesson here? Even after getting this lesson, I still procrastinated. Although the universe is in control, I was still given free will to accept or reject the information. Right or wrong, it was my choice. As you can see in these two examples, there are consequences for not making the right choices in life. This is something I have repeated to my children over and over and over. Choices and consequences. Every consequence results from a choice. Every choice has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. Most of us go on with business as usual. When things go wrong, we write them off as bad luck, complain to anybody who listens, and move on. Sometimes after we've been tapped on the shoulder or smacked a few times, we get hit with something bigger. This one knocks us off our feet and forces us to change, even though we're kicking and screaming all the way. When we get through that major crisis, we often look back on the hard times and realize that illness, that divorce, that job loss changed us for the better. In my case, that job loss enabled me to have a wonderful relationship with my daughters. Before that, I had no time at home. I missed so many soccer games. So there is a good outcome to many of these. Can we just grow without being painful? I know we all wish we could. Unfortunately, it's part of the learning process we have to go through. The lessons we have to learn are a direct result of the choices we make. One of the laws of physics states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Lessons get a lot tougher when we don't listen. One way or the other, we're going to get that lesson. We usually get plenty of warning before we're brought to our knees. Every time things don't go our way, we have a choice of responses. We can get angry, frustrated, depressed, or we can come to the realization that we are not in control and find a solution. Giving up control doesn't mean you're giving up your responsibilities. We still have to go to work. We still have to plan for vacations. We still have to show up on time when we say we will. We still have to go grocery shopping. Most of us put a lot of energy into remaining in control of our private lives. We're willing to let God handle things on a cosmic level as long as it doesn't interfere with what we're doing. But when it comes to our lives, we feel we know better and have definite ideas about how to run things. We're told to let go, and if it's supposed to happen, it will. I've heard variations of this in the past, all the time. So it can be tough being married to a minister. So if the fishing trip got canceled, well, you weren't supposed to go. If somebody's in front of me doing 30 miles an hour in a 45 zone, they're trying to slow you down. If the store is out of my favorite ice cream, they didn't want you to have it. They're trying to help you lose weight. I'm like, okay, hey, can I talk to them? Who are they? I want to talk to them. Of course, I know who they are. They are referring to people in spirit. Okay. Free will is the ability that Spirit gave us to make our own decisions. This rules out the assumption that everything is pre-planned and we are just acting out that plan. Spirit does have a plan for us, but we choose where in that plan we're going to be by our free will. So a question many people ask is, so if God's in control, why are people starving? The answer is, this is a problem created by man, not God. It's a result of others' free will. Mankind is designed to be one big family. You and I are brothers and sisters in God's eyes. Okay? So whatever we do affects all the others. It's not the lack of free will causing starvation, but it's the misuse of it by man. There's enough wealth on this planet for every man, woman, and child to be fed and comfortable. There are certain things that we have contracted to learn and do. This is what creates our destiny. Our free will determine what path we take to get to that destiny. If our ego is refusing to learn a certain lesson, we are forced to take a long, winding road. If we surrender and figure out the lesson, the road becomes shorter. All of us have learned different ways of control. Perhaps in your family, anger and criticism were used to control your behavior. So you put aside your feelings and went along with whatever was wanted. So anger and criticism are now what you use to control others. You may have gone the other direction and resisted others' attempts to control you. Remember back to my experiences. We may have decided to withdraw, shut down, and shut out controlling people, or we may have decided to express our feelings through addictions to food, alcohol, drugs, even work. All of these behaviors are intended to protect us in some way, but don't necessarily do. Most people choose a combination of ways to control. Some people even try to control God. God, you just let me have that house. I will do anything you want. Or how about this one? God, if you just let me win that Powerball, I will give enough money to that old church so they can fix their building. Okay, we foolishly try to control what's not ours to begin with. We need to look within and ask why we have the things we have and why we do the things we do. What was your reason for buying that particular home or car? Did your friend or neighbor buy one? These are ways of pursuing external power. It's not the house, the car, the skill, or talent that produce destructive results. It's using them to control others. So in closing, before you get hit in the head with a spiritual brick, is there anything you really need to get done that you haven't? Decision you're struggling with? Need tires on the car? Time is now. I'm going to leave you with verse 9 of Proverbs chapter 16. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Thank you for your time today.